Hey everyone, welcome today for our nice gentle Hatha yoga practice. Considering the tarot card that we pulled earlier on Sacred Site, I thought it would be very fitting to work in that area. So the theme of today's practice is going to be about listening inward and then trusting that inner voice that we hear. So, kind of two parts to it. We have the listening inward, so making that time, could be in nature, could be just in your quiet space right now, right, as you're doing this video, listening inward, and then able then to hear what's there and then trusting what's there, that inner voice. Okay. So we're going to start in the easy seated pose, cross leg position. If you really prefer to be lying down on your back in Shavasana, feel free to do that. So whatever is most comfortable for you. If you're in the seated position, let your hands just rest on your knees or thighs. Can either be palms up or down, whatever feels more fitting. Today, I feel like I'd like to get a little more grounded, so I'm going to leave with the palms down. Take a moment. We're going to open up the shoulders. Okay, slight tuck of the chin. And then once you're ready, feel free to close your eyes. And once your eyes are closed, beginning to draw your attention to your breath. So we're just focusing our awareness on the inhale and exhale of our breath without any need to change it. So we're just noticing, oh, I'm breathing. What does that feel like? And you might notice your breath naturally beginning to deepen on its own. If not, that's okay too. Okay. On your next inhale, we're now going to inhale for a count of 4. And then exhale, count of 4. Inhale, count of 4. Exhale, count of 4. One more just like that. Inhale, count of 4. Exhale, count of 4. And then fall back into your natural breathing rhythm again. All right, when you're ready, we can now bring one hand to the heart center and one hand to the forehead. So just right around where the eyebrows are, maybe slightly above the eyebrows. So palm on the heart center, palm on the forehead. Now we're coming back into our natural breathing rhythm, noticing that. And when you're ready, on an inhale, count of 4 again. Exhale, this time count of 6. Inhale, count of 4. Exhale, count of 6. So flowing with your breath, keeping the count of 4 on the inhale and count of 6 on the exhale. One more breath just like that. Now releasing that count and just coming back into the natural breath. Saying quietly to yourself, I listen within. I listen within. And taking a moment now to listen within. Whatever is there, just observing and noticing. And taking a moment now to visualize where your hand is on your forehead, space around the middle of the eyebrows, an indigo light. And visualizing that light starting small and starting to glow brighter and brighter, glowing between your eyebrows. Focusing on this glowing indigo light as you quietly say, I listen within. And just noticing whatever is there, just observing, just listening. And when you're ready, feel free to just bring the hands down to the knees or thighs. Let them just rest, keeping the eyes closed. And setting an intention for our practice today. Reminding ourselves that when the mind becomes quiet and calm, the wisdom of the heart can be heard. So intending today to tune in, to listen to that wisdom of the heart. Whatever comes up is fine. Full acceptance. All right, when you're ready, feel free to slowly open your eyes. Taking a deep breath in and out. Bring yourself back into the space. All right. We're going to take the legs just long out in front. We've been in the seated position for a while. If you're on the mat, feel free to bring yourself to one side and you can slowly bring yourself to meet us in our seated staff pose. So I have a cushion under my hips today. I feel like that would feel a little nicer for me. Feel free to use one if that feels good for you. So in seated staff, we're going to keep the legs strong and connected to the mat beneath us, and I'm flexing the toes towards me. So just sitting here, keeping the chest open. Okay, I'm already feeling a nice stretch in the back of the hamstrings, and then right into the hips and the lower back even. Okay, so whatever's there for you, just noticing. Take a deep breath in and out. And if you'd like, taking the arms out to the sides, palms facing up, we're going to inhale, get nice and tall. And then exhale, keep length in your spine, and we're going to hinge forward. So again, you might already be feeling like you're kind of max in the seated position. Feel free to stay there. This is only if this feels accessible to you. You're always listening to your own body. And that's what we're really focusing on today, is listening, right, to our body, our felt sense. Is this for us or is this not for us? And trusting that, okay? Our mind will tell us all kinds of stories, but trusting that felt sense in the body, very important. Coming back to your breath. Maybe coming into a little deeper fold as the breath, those exhales tend to soften the tension. Not rushing. One more deep breath. All right. And then when you're ready, feel free to use your hands to guide your torso all the way back up. And then we're going to bring the soles of the feet together, coming into our butterfly or bound angle, guiding the heels towards the torso, hands on the ankles or on the feet, whatever feels more accessible. And then inhale, get nice and tall through the top of the head. And then exhale, coming into a fold. So again, this is going to be different for everyone. Some people might be in the seated position. Some people might be coming down on the forearms, whatever feels better for you. You want to feel a nice stretch, but again, no pain and no strain. Find your breath. Now, when you brought the feet towards the torso, if that felt like, I was feeling some pain and strain, feel free to move your feet a little further away, right? Deep breath. Nice. And then inhale, we're going to bring ourselves all the way back up into our seated position. And we're going to lengthen our left leg long. And then we're going to keep a bend in that right knee. And either keeping the right foot towards the inner left thigh or perhaps on the outside of the left thigh. So the big thing is making sure that you have that right sit bone still connected to the mat. Okay. So deep breath, getting nice and tall. Nice. And now option to either taking the left inner nook of the left elbow, either wrapping around the front knee or bringing the elbow to the outside of the right knee. And then inhale, let's take that right arm all the way up and back, coming into a seated twist. So find your breath. Gaze can be over the right shoulder. Deep breath. One more deep breath. And then exhale, release around to center. And we're going to take that right leg now long down the mat. Bring a bend to the left knee. Okay, now again, that left foot can be on the inside of the right thigh or on the outside. If you're on the outside, making sure you have that left sit bone, right, connected to the mat. Okay, so inhale, get nice and tall. Breathing out. And then again, taking this time the right arm, inner nook of the elbow, either wrapping it around that front knee or taking that right elbow to the outside of the front knee. And then inhale, let's take that left arm all the way back and gaze over the left shoulder. Finding your breath. Keeping that bottom leg engaged. So it doesn't have to be the absolute deepest seated twist you've ever done. We're just warming up, but just getting into the shoulder area, the upper chest a little more consciously, staying present in your body, feeling the sensations in your shoulder, up into your neck. I'm feeling this right into my neck, base of my skull. One more deep breath. And then exhale, release around to center. Nice. Okay. And then we're going to bring a bend to the knees and coming into our tabletop. So just placing the hands in front, moving the pillow off to the side, bringing our hands in front. Hands are under the shoulders, knees are under the hips. Coming into our tabletop position. So initially we're going to tuck our toes, knees are under the hips, fingers are spread nice and wide, tucking our toes. Inhale. And then exhale, bringing the hips back towards heels. So just a gentle stretch in the arch of the feet. Finding your breath. Feeling the stretch in your feet, staying present in your body and your felt sense of the body. Our minds love to wander off. Totally normal, by the way. Just bring it back when you notice. All right, and then we're going to bring ourselves back up into our tabletop. Take a moment, untuck those toes, maybe, give the toes a little moving around. There we go. And then we're going to transition into some cat and cow. So inhale, belly down, chin and pelvis tilt up. Exhale, curving up the spine, tucking the chin and pelvis. So flowing with your breath. And staying present, really feeling again in your body. Where are you noticing this? Let's go one more full cycle. And after your last exhale, coming back into that neutral tabletop position, and then tucking the toes if they're not untucked, and if they're untucked, and then inhale, let's lift the hips up into downward facing dog. So take a moment here, pedal out the feet. My calves are really tight, so I'm going to take a few breaths here as I bring one heel towards the mat and bend the opposite knee. And go to the other side, and a gentle drawing up of the hips and back towards the bottom of the mat, the backs of the thighs. And then eventually coming into our stationary version of our downward facing dog. Fingers are spread wide, head is just hanging, spine is long. Deep breath. On your next inhale, we're going to draw the right foot all the way back. Keep the hips square to the mat. And then exhale, let's draw that right foot all the way forward between the hands. So feel free to use your hands to help guide it there. And we're going to lower down our back knee. So we're making sure we have our front knee stacked over the front ankle. Back knee is down. Okay. Inhale, getting tall on the fingertips. And then exhale, walking the hands back as we lengthen the front leg, half splits. We're going to hold it here for a couple breaths. All right, inhale, walking the hands forward, bring that bend to the front knee. And when you're ready on an inhale, let's bring the arms all the way up, opening up the heart, perhaps cactus arms. Okay, deep breath. Opening up the heart center. One more breath. And then exhale, hands down to the mat. Let's step that back foot all the way back, lifting up the back knee, coming back into our downward facing dog. Hips high, deep breath. Inhale, stepping the left foot back, three-legged dog. Okay. And then exhale, stepping that left foot all the way forward between the hands. Use your hands to help guide. And then we're going to lower down that back knee, coming into our supported low lunge on the other side. Okay. So inhale, coming up on the fingertips. Exhale. Let's just sink a little deeper here. There we go. Inhale again. And then exhale, lengthening that front leg. So bringing that front leg long, keep that left hip crease pulling back. Hands walk back to support you in your half splits. Inhale, getting tall, and then exhale, coming into whatever appropriate fold for you here. Keep the left toes flexed towards you. Again, no pain and no strain. Okay. Find your breath. Might be able to come a little deeper as you the nice slow exhales, release any tightness. Nice. And then inhale, we're going to come up on the fingertips and then slowly bring a bend to that front knee, coming back into our supported low lunge. And we're going to step our back foot all the way forward, coming into our standing forward fold at the head of the mat. So feet about hip distance apart. Keep a little bend in the knees. Let your hands, your head just hang. Find your breath. Maybe ragdoll, holding the opposite elbows with your hands. Nice. And then releasing the elbows. Inhale, let's halfway lift. Exhale, fold. And then inhale, sweeping the arms all the way overhead, upward salute. Your gaze can go up if that's good on your neck. And then exhale, hands down through the heart center and down at your sides. Finding your breath. All right. Inhale, sweep the arms all the way up. Exhale, we're going to swan dive. So bringing the arms apart, chest leads forward all the way down to your fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Hands down to the mat, stepping the right foot all the way back. And this time we're going to bring the back foot so that the sole of the foot is flat on the mat. So toes are dialed at about a 45. And make sure your front knee is stacked over the front ankle. So coming into a warrior stance. When you're ready, you can initially start by bringing the hands to the front thigh or open all the way up into your warrior two. So in warrior two, our torso is flush with the long edge of the mat. We're making sure that front knee is still stacked over the front ankle. Okay. Shoulders down from the ears, arms are parallel to the floor. Gaze is over that front middle finger. So feeling strong, feeling your feet grounded and rooted into the mat. Legs are strong, core is strong. Deep breath. Deep breath in. Exhale, back hand down to the back leg. Front hand palm up and opening up into reverse warrior. Gaze can either be up or down towards the back foot. It's actually a really nice neck stretch. Finding your breath. Inhale, coming through our warrior two. Exhale, back into the reverse warrior. And then inhale, let's flow the arms forward, framing the front foot. Come on the ball of the back foot. And then stepping that back foot forward. Standing forward fold. Deep breath in your forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, sweep the arms all the way overhead. And then exhale, hands down through the heart center. Holding them there, thumbs pressed into the heart center. Deep breath. Connecting to that heart center and just listening in this moment to whatever's coming up. All right, now bringing hands down to the sides. Let's inhale, sweep all the way up. And then exhale, swan dive. Arms apart, chest leads all the way down. Forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Hands down to the mat, stepping your left foot now all the way back. It's coming into that almost like a high lunge position, but we're going to actually bring the back foot flat. So the sole is flat on the mat. Toes are dialed at a 45 into our warrior stance. So front knee is still stacked over front ankle. And when you're ready, either, bringing the hands to the thigh or opening all the way up into your warrior two on the other side. So torso again is flush to the long edge of the mat. Arms are parallel to the floor. Shoulders are down from the ears. Legs are strong. Gaze is over that front middle finger. Deep breath. Really get centered here. And notice if anything's coming up right now. It's okay. Just notice. Inhale. Exhale. Let's bring that back hand down to the back leg. Front palm is facing up. Inhaling up, reverse warrior. Again, gaze can be up or down towards the back foot. Find your breath. Keeping that front knee bent as best you can. And then exhale, let's come through the warrior two. Inhale back into our reverse warrior. One more breath. And then we're going to cartwheel those hands all the way forward, framing the front foot. Come on the ball of the back foot. And then we're going to step that back foot all the way forward, back into our standing forward fold. Deep breath. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Hands come down to the mat. And we're going to now step We kind of turn our body towards the long edge of the mat. We're going to step that right foot towards the back of the mat. We're coming into that standing wide leg stance. Okay. Not 100% or anything, but just maybe at about 80% width for you. Okay. And then hands are down on the mat for support. If you need need the floor to come up to you, maybe some cushions, right? Some cushions under here would be helpful. Or if you have a chair for some support, right? The seat of the chair in front of you, that would be a good option. And when you're ready, on an exhale, let yourself come into your full expression of your wide leg, standing wide leg forward fold. Use your hands for support. Option here to clasp the hands behind the back and allow the hands to move towards the back of your head. That feels good. Opening up the shoulders, feel free to try that. So we're just getting still in whatever version we're in here. Listening to whatever is there. That might just be noticing the sensations in the body. And if you have the hands clasped, bring them to the lower back and slowly releasing the hands down to the mat. We're going to inhale into a halfway lift. Exhale back into our fold. And we're going to slowly walk the hands towards the right foot, coming into a bit of a side lunge. Okay, if this feels good. If it's too much on that right knee, then you can definitely just stay in your forward fold. So inhale, walking the hands down towards the left, coming into a side lunge with that left knee bent. And we're going to do one more on each side. So again, inhaling up and through center, exhaling towards the right. Inhaling all the way back up and exhaling to the left. Inhaling, coming up through our standing wide leg, standing forward fold. One more deep fold. Inhale, halfway lift, fingertips. And we're going to heel toe our feet so that our heels are a little bit wider than hip distance and the toes are dialed at about a 45-degree angle. Okay. Deep breath in and then exhale, bringing our hips down into our yogic squat. Okay. So again, this can be a challenging pose for people. Great option to use the cushion under the seat, right? If you're having a bit of trouble getting the heels down, that's totally normal, by the way. Just stay up on the, on the toes is great. And if it's just really not working out, you can a great starting point is sitting down and just keeping that bend in the knees. And then we will bring the elbows to the inside of the knees just to bring a little more space there. Okay. So whatever version of yogic squat you're in, okay, finding some stillness. Again, bringing the elbows to the inner knees, palms of the hands together, thumbs pressed into the heart center. Deep breath in and out. Feel free to close your eyes once you're in your still version of your yogic squat. And again, taking some time to listen, to connect. What is there? Notice what's there. All right, and then feel free to open your eyes when you're ready. I'm going to guide the left fingertips down towards the mat. And on an inhale, I'm going to sweep that right arm up and open into a little bit of a twist. And hold it here for a couple breaths. And then exhale, let's guide that right arm all the way back down. We'll come back into our, palms together. Prayer mudra, thumbs pressed to the heart center. There we go. Take a breath. And on the exhale, let's bring the right fingertips down. And then inhale, opening up the left arm all the way up and open. for a few breaths. Your gaze can go all the way up to the left hand if that feels good, or wherever is good on your neck. And then exhale when you're ready, bringing the hand all the way back down. Again, prayer mudra one last time, thumbs pressed into the heart center. And then when you're ready, bringing the hands on down to the mat, we're going to come into a child's pose. So coming initially into our tabletop. Then bringing the knees nice and wide, big toes together. And on an exhale, hips back onto your heels. And then bringing the arms either all the way out in front, or you can bring the arms just down at your sides, whatever feels best for you. Forehead down to the mat, or perhaps onto one cheek. Let the elbows, if your arms are out front, just rest on the mat. Taking a deep breath into the back body. And exhale, just letting go and releasing. And just feeling what's there. Release what's there, what's left. Couple more breaths. When you're ready, slowly bring yourself all the way back up. And we're just going to come down all the way into our final Shavasana resting position. So you can just bring the legs out nice and long and scoot yourself all the way down. If you have a cushion, it's really nice under the head. Feel free to use that. Do whatever you need to get comfortable. So maybe a blanket or it's a cushion under the knees. That's also really nice. So taking up a little space, let your legs come long down the mat. Let your feet roll apart. Arms are out at your sides, palms facing up. And take a deep breath all the way in your nose and out your mouth. And coming into your natural breath. And then just visualizing as you're breathing, your breath moving energy into your third eye, that space between the eyebrows. Moving down and out your heart on the exhale. So inhaling the energy through the third eye. That energy is moving down through the throat, down to the heart, and exhaling out the heart space. Just staying with this visualization for a few more breaths. Now releasing that visualization and allowing yourself just to rest for these last few moments. And when you're ready, gradually beginning to deepen your breath. Nice and easy. Slowly beginning to deepen that breath as you bring some movement into your body, whatever feels most natural for you. Maybe giving yourself a stretch all the way overhead. And then when you're ready, you can slowly guide yourself onto one side and pause here for a few more breaths. Taking your time. Following your inhales and exhales. When you're ready, slowly guiding yourself all the way back up into our seated cross-leg position. I'm going to pause here with the hands rested on the knees or thighs, eyes closed. And just asking yourself quietly in this moment, what messages did I receive when I was listening inward? What messages were received when listening inward? Just see if anything comes up for you. And reminding yourself in these final moments that I am guided by inner wisdom. And bringing the palms of the hands together, thumbs pressed into the heart center. And taking a deep breath in your nose and out your mouth. And taking one final moment of gratitude for this time and space for your practice today. Namaste. So hopefully you enjoyed that practice. That really helped us do something that I know for me does not come naturally, right? Making that space and that quiet to connect with that inner wisdom, that inner voice, to listen for what's there, and then to trust what's there, right? So the more we can make time and space for these kind of practices, I think the easier, I was going to say this too, like, it's okay if not much came up, right? Especially if this is not something that you've done a lot of. It does, like anything else, take practice. So the more time and space you allow for this, it's been my experience, the more of that knowing and wisdom that will come up. Just trusting that process. Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining me. I felt like I really needed that today. It's been a really hectic last week, and those times is when we really need this, right? It's like, okay, connect to myself, connect to that inner voice, that inner wisdom for the next best steps. So hopefully you found that helpful as well. Hope you have a great rest of your week. And if you like this, feel free to like the video, comment, share with someone. Yeah, I like to, make these practices available to as many people as possible. So that would be super appreciated as well. All right, take care. Have a great week. Bye.